Do you want to go ahead and should we get started?
Yes.
Okay. Alrighty, everybody, welcome. We've got the Nace Open Plus. I keep wanting to say Open Division. Open Plus 9 Grand Finals between New Hampshire Technical Institute and Villanova University here. What can we talk about with these matchups, Yanni?
Well, a couple interesting things coming out here from really both of these squads here, Cilantro, is that, I really like New Hampshire Tech's team, like that they got going on. This is their first ever league team at the college. The first team that they have that's won some prize money. This is a young program with a coaching staff that actually has some prior MOBA experience. This would be a really, really nice feather in their cap for them to notch a championship win under their belts. They've done pretty well. They've only dropped 2 games in the regular season, obviously undefeated into the playoffs. Meanwhile, on the other side, Villanova, they've only dropped 1 game, right? And it was to Northwestern Purple, which is a team that the Lynx just beat in their most recent playoff game. So these 2 teams coming in, the Lynx potentially with a leg up after that victory, going flying through the picks and bans here. And we see Kais is the first thing to get locked in here.
Yep, Kaisa's still pretty strong in the meta overall, pretty good AD carry. Don't think we're going to see much of that hybrid build come out anymore after we saw those Dustblade nerfs, as well as a little bit of a nerf to her base armor and stuff like that. So she's a lot more squishier than normal. But Villanova's going to respond with another Jinx pick, which is arguably what we see typically in bans. AD carries get priored, but mid laners have been showing up in that priority lately as well. But Jinx still very strong, has that passive scaling, even though it did get nerfed back a little bit a couple of patches ago, but still very strong AD carries out of both sides. But this also tells me that both teams want to play for the late game.
Yes, they do. And what a great way to counter the other team's late game by picking up a Renata Glass, right? So not only are you afforded at least a little bit of lane pressure and protection for any potential ganks coming through, can dissuade a gank or start one with the handshake, but also that ultimate for those late game fights. Listen, you want to go straight up 5v5, you're going to have to deal with this hostile takeover.
Yeah, and with Kaisa, you arguably want to pick something like Rakan, who's not banned out, or you want to go with something like the Thresh or Nautilus, typical picks that we've seen with her. And having that hostile takeover online is just too much of a threat that you can't really draft much of a dive comp here. You have to start moving towards drafting somewhat of a brawl comp, and that's where we see the Sejuani coming out. We're probably going to see some type of mid melee lane here with that hostile takeover and Jinx online. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Silas pick. That's really two strong ultimates that he can take and turn a brawl fight into his favor. But it's looking like New Hampshire wants to go ahead and lock in the Blitzcrank for the support.
Yeah, and you called it, right? Getting, at least it's a melee support, right? Obviously, they can go with some more melee picks later if they want. You mentioned the Silas. This does give Villanova the opportunity to ban it in the second half. But, yeah, you mentioned you want melees when you go ahead and you pick up a Sejuani here. So Blitzcrank, a great addition to that, and especially with 2, now 3 squishy targets here. Blitzcrank has so many great options when it comes to just yanking somebody into their team. Now, the question is New Hampshire going to go with a stronger damage profile in the second half of draft to be able to take advantage of that sort of thing? A really nice pick comp that they're putting together here so far.
Yeah, the Blitzcrank is going to be able to deny this Talia from being able to set up the counter engages. Sejuani's not going to be able to dash in. So if Blitzcrank can get a pick onto that Talia, it's going to allow Sejuani to queue in with her knockups and ultimates and get some sort of engage and start this brawl comp. But the Aatrox is going to be banned out, as well as the Renekton so far. And right now, no really mid lane bans. The only thing we really have is Lissandra and Yone, which I'm assuming are going to be targeted towards New Hampshire's mid laner himself. But I think right now, we're probably going to see a mid lane pick here. Syndra's banned out, so Orianna is still on the table. Silas is still on the table. Akali's still on the table. Still really strong mid lane picks. I would expect something that can be a little bit more of a front line, though, if you're the side of Villanova, because right now you're kind of extremely lacking a tank presence.
Yeah, and we don't really know where this Talia is going quite yet, right? This could be a Talia jungle. Could be a Talia mid lane, but yes, you mentioned it. Very, very squishy team and a great way to kind of go, okay, we'll bring some beef into the team composition, double stack patties here. They're going to go with the Scion. So New Hampshire, the ball's in their court on what they want to do. Again, talked about the Silas earlier. If you want to go that here just to be able to shut down that Renata Glass, right? Be able to take that ultimate and then use it for your own. Also means that Villanova has to be more careful on what they want to pick up as well. But again, it's not fantastic right now because we're in such a mid lane control mage meta. So we'll have to see what comes through as the Darius is the one picked up for New Hampshire here. Again, another melee into the mix, looking to take advantage of Sejuani's passive, get those permafrosts off, stop people in their tracks.
Well, yeah, and the reason why I think that the Silas in the mid lane is a pick, even though that the control mages are kind of the substandard meta right now, is because Sejuani does need another lane to play for. But with that Blitzcrank pick in the bot lane will technically allow her to be able to play for bot lane more. So I'm expecting to see some bot lane gangs to leave Darius to his own Demeters in the top side. Against Sion, he should be pretty much okay. He can lifesteal proc off that. Both of them, I don't think either are going to get too much ahead. Darius is going to obviously have the level 1 through 3 advantage, so we're going to have to see if New Hampshire's top laner can take advantage of that. But the Ahri is going to be picked out, and Swain is going to be coming out in response here. I really like the Ahri pick. Swain kind of makes sense because they do need more frontline, but what this tells me is that the Talia is going to be going into the jungle, which I think is pretty good. But this mid lane is just going to be probably the matchup to watch because it's not really what we're used to seeing.
No, not in the slightest. And what really concerns me here is you talk about how powerful Ahri is as a champion, not on her own, but in a mid jungle duo, right? Everybody talks about like, oh, Ahri Lee Sin's really, really strong, right? So obviously Sejuani doesn't bring nearly as much in terms of raw damage, but it certainly brings enough in terms of CC. So when I take a look at these two mid jungle duos here, Talia Swain, it packs a little bit of a punch, but it doesn't quite give the same sort of control that an Ahri Sejuani does, right? You can easily rotate around, pick somebody off, and really the big problem is, will this Swain be able to keep up with Ahri's push, right? And Ahri known as a mid laner who's able to easily get priority and wants to roam around, wants to be a really big facilitator, and if they happen to get the kills, can absolutely pump out enough damage later on to be a heavy damage threat.
Yeah, and what these two comps tell me is that Villanova is banking entirely on a 5v5 top. That's what their entire comp is banking on. So Sion wants to be able to land the Q knockups and get off of his passive shield, like his E shield exploding. He wants to be able to get enough off of his kit. Swain, with his ultimate, wants to be able to keep everybody around him so that he can keep that ultimate not only online, but can also act as a life-stealing kind of tank. And Renata, obviously, with the hostile takeover. But New Hampshire kind of almost counteracts that because you have the Blitzcrank, which can pull one target away. And so if that Swain pops ult, you could either pull it, like you could pull him in and silence him, or you could pull him in, blow him up, and then that ultimate is just now gone for the team fight. Villanova won't be able to capitalize off that. Ahri has her charms, so she can isolate one target, and then Darius is most likely going to be looking for flanks onto these AD carries. I'm expecting him to proc something like Ghost so that he can get onto this backline and get onto the squishy so he can keep procking his Q life steals. So New Hampshire kind of wants to play around Villanova and pick out all these individual pieces that want to fight on top of each other.
Yeah, you mentioned pulling in the Swain. It's a real gambit, right? Because you want to be super judicious about how you use that static field Blitzcrank ultimate in order to make sure that you're silencing the Swain, you're interrupting the Swain's channel of his demonic ascension. Otherwise, that Swain is going to be really, really difficult to kill. And, you have to really hold it because he's going to get tankier and tankier as the game goes on. Has that infinite health scaling, right? So it is a really big deal. But the Swain, it just happens to be a really fantastic pick into what New Hampshire wants to do because of this, I don't really want to say melee heavy composition since it's 3/2, but Kais is pretty short range and Ahri can dance around, but it doesn't want to be super far away, but just wants to be able to kind of like play at a medium range where Swain could still be catching you out with some skill shots. So I do think that is a big worry, but on the side of Villanova, It's a little weird, right? I like their first two picks, right? It's like very clear. They're indexing in the late game. They want to have the insurance policy for the Jinx just in case she happens to go down. You potentially get that extra revive. But I mean, I don't think the Scion works out too well. Talia more so wants to split up a fight rather than actually, you know, full commit to a team fight. I'm not quite sure. It feels a little disjointed coming out from Villanova here.
Yeah, Villanova, like, arguably, New Hampshire wants to fight in melee range, and honestly, Villanova pulls them into melee range. It's honestly kind of weird because Talia's got the stone knockup, and as long as the rock slides, so she's going to be able to land or pull all them people into melee range. And Swain wants to fight in melee range essentially with his ultimate online, and then Scion being a melee tank. So I feel like both teams have their strengths and weaknesses, but we really won't know until we head out onto the Rift. But we've got our little bit of a spectator delay here, so I believe we are going to go ahead and throw it over to a break while we wait for that. So stick with us while we wait for map number 1 to get started.
Welcome to Summoners.
All right, everybody, welcome. We are on the Rift right now, ready to get this game underway. like we said, I actually would like to point out that
30
Darius
seconds
is
until
opting for the
minions
ghost,
spawn.
like I mentioned last time, so he is probably going to be looking for a lot of those back line flanks. But what I'm not seeing is any invades coming out with this Blitzcrank online.
I know, it's so disappointing, Cilantro. Like, come on,
Oh.
man, do something. And now Blitzcrank is going to be the one who could be caught out early.
Yep, he might be invading himself, but Pine is going to end up starting that Q onto the Talia with the, you know, chucking some rocks at him. Big Bear going to be forced to run away, but probably maybe could have started that W and landed the seismic shove. Could have probably caught out the Blitzcrank, maybe forced out Flash. He should have Hextech Flash, so it wouldn't be too much of an issue if you forced out that Flash, but that still gives your bot lane a little bit of a prio, but not really something you do want to start if you are playing Talia jungle, because you're going to need that Q for your clear.
Yep, Pine gonna get a little bit of extra gold because he's got first strike, you know, and you mentioned obviously Ghost on this Darius, Ghost on the Swain as well on the other side here. So, you know, do keep in mind that, you know, one teleport piece here does mean that you're missing out a little bit, right? You know, obviously there's not gonna be too much in the way of map control. And it's really going to be Darius versus Sion. Who's going to be able to utilize their teleports better? Because Big Bear and Tequila are just lying in wait here, but haven't realized that Sloth and John are already in lane.
Yep, Big Bear's gonna end up landing the hook, but not gonna find too much out of it. Kaisa almost having that 5th auto online, but that's gonna help them get a little bit of prio because Sloth is going to be weak, not gonna be able to step forward too easily to get that poke and get a level 2 advantage. But it might not matter. The minion wave's looking in favor of New Hampshire anyway, and that's gonna force Villanova to back off. And like you mentioned earlier, like these TPs are going to be absolutely crucial because you have a top laner that can't TP out of Darius, which is, like we mentioned, yes, he does want to flank, which is why he has the Ghost online, but he's not, Sion's going to be able to show up to a fight before Darius, and Darius is forced to split push, and that's what Sion is going to want Darius to do. He's going to pull Darius to this bot side lane, or all the way to the top side lane, make him react to the tier 2 tower that he's potentially going to be trying to knock down with potentially a whole breaker build or something, and force Darius out of essentially almost every fight, as we have a little bit of an invade where Pine is going to be forced to flash out of Smitty's jungle.
Yeah, a really aggressive move by Pine there, right? He goes just all the way over into Smitty's jungle, right? Goes and takes the chickens away, takes his chicken nuggets, and then it's like, you know what, I'm gonna scrap on red buff, right? But the problem was Smitty showed up at level 3 and Pine was just level 2, and the problem is Cool Guy had the push in the mid lane but didn't move around, right, to be able to help him out, you know. So Smitty, you know, big heads up play there to be able to get that taken care of and force Pine's flash. Could be some problems later as you know, Smitty getting the better of Pine.
Yeah, and talking about these jungle paths for a second here, even with that invade, they both seem to have finished their bot side clears roughly around the same time, but it's not looking like, it's looking like Pine's going to be able to find a mid lane invade where Smitty wanted to look for some type of bot invade, but both teams are actually going to be collapsing on this mid lane. Big Bear's going to be used that movement speed with the flash. He's going to land the knockup onto Pine. He has no flash, and that should be the first blood. Sloth and a 912 Cool Guy trying to react, but they were not able to get there in time. First blood for Ari in the mid lane.
Yeah, big punish there from that invade from Pine earlier that went awry. Went to go take an extra aggressive move here to try to keep nowhere to go off, but didn't realize that Tequila and Big Bear had already pushed in John and Sloth in the bottom lane, so there was no assistance from anywhere. Now Smitty coming in with again.
Yep, Flash is going to be forced out of John TRC, and the choppers are going to come down as well. Smitty trading a flash for flash there. It's going to give his bot lane even more prio. When you have Big Bear with that hook down there, he lands one onto this Jinx. That should be a pick for the Kaisa in that bot side, but nowhere to go is going to have to play this probably a little bit precautionary here, as he's actually all-inning onto the Swain, but he does not have the health bars. One more Q from Swain might actually do it, and it does not. He flashes for it. It doesn't get it either. So nowhere to go, was forced to burn his flash, but he trades a flash. No sums out of Swain in this mid lane. That could open up for a free gank from Smitty.
So sad, right? The problem here is that, I mean, both mid laners are still in lane right now, but, you know, nowhere to go actually has everywhere to go if he wants, but he does get rooted up.
Oh, and he actually ends up winning, but the charm lands as well as the Q. That true damage does a lot of damage while Smitty moves up to the top side as well. That enemy mid laner is dead. And I don't think that the Rift Herald is going to be online for another approximately 30 seconds here to a minute. So not going to be able to find that prio just yet. So lingering on the top side, but very good kill coming up from nowhere to go. He's going to be able to shove that wave. And with 912 Cool Guy not having the TP like you mentioned at the beginning, he's not going to be able, he's going to lose a lot here. He's not going to be able to catch the wave.
Yeah, he gets there and he picks up a couple of scraps. But really, the big issue is like, you stay around and you really don't gain too much here if you're a cool guy, right? Because, okay, cool, you kill the Ahri, well, Ahri can just teleport back, right? But if you don't manage to take out the Ahri and disaster strikes and you're the one who goes down, I mean, that's even worse. You know, this Ahri's 2-0, double booked up here. It just means that roam potential is going to be so strong.
Yep, and he's even got to worry about solo kills as well. Man, he's just going to have that Swain ultimate online, but it's not going to really matter when Ahri Qs are doing enough true damage to you. And with a bot lane shoved, they're going to go ahead and take prio onto this dragon. Pine's going to be recalling as well. So Smitty and New Hampshire should be taking this first dragon of the game. I believe it was a Cloud Dragon, if I may not be mistaken. Yes. Was a Cloud Dragon, so that's going to be actually extremely beneficial for the comp that New Hampshire already has.
Yep, and you know, wait to see what the next dragons are going to be. I mean, you know, I'm pretty excited to see what we're going to get here. As, you know, you never know what you're going to get, right? Especially since some of these dragons can be really, really beneficial. Obviously, everybody loves taking out dragons. Nice both lands.
Another hook gift lands on the Sloth as well as the knockup from Choppers are going to come down as well as Ignite from Big Bear. They want to commit to this. Potentially, Q is going to flash forward as well, but not find anything. A Sloth is going to escape with a quarter of HP. Probably had that W online and was waiting to use it, but does not need it. But look at Smitty. He's moving around to this tri-bush, and they're pulling down Vietnam as well. They know they want to go for that tower dive, and it's only going to be a 4v3. No ultimates online just yet out of either the jungler or both bot laners, so they're going to end up backing off of this. Maybe if Blitzcrank had hit that level 6 spike, maybe they decide to go for it.
Yeah, what was really interesting is I like the swap, right? Vietnam walks all the way to the bottom lane to make sure that no play can be made here from Villanova, right? And then you have Pine kicking up the top. Those are really, really smart rotations there, so Axis couldn't really get all that much out of it.
Yep. Speaking of Axis, let's take a look at this top lane so far. He's got that Sheen online where only the Bomby Cinder is up for Vietnam. So he is going to be able to 1v1 this Ion realistically whenever he wants. Has a little bit of a level lead off of that bot lane roam coming out from Vietnam as well. And he's got his own CS lead, so right now doesn't really need too much of help. But speaking of help, here comes Smitty. The charm's gonna land out of nowhere to go, and that's another kill on to Pine. Not another kill. Actually, no, it wasn't another kill on the Pine. He does end up falling twice this game, but they give the pick over to Smitty instead of giving it over to Axis or this Ahri. So that's going to be interesting to see how it plays out in the long run, as Axis, you know, he wants a little bit of XP. He's trying desperately to get a kill here.
Yeah, but Vietnam just too tanky right now, right? You have all this health and, you know, just a Sheen on Axis. Not going to be able to do too much, but Pine has just had a really, really rough game. It feels like, you know, New Hampshire just knows the pathing of Pine and where Pine's at. Had a feeling that we were going to stick around at the top side now. Has to turn tail, head back to the bottom lane. This means that Rift Herald will be the prize here for New Hampshire. Really like the way that Smitty has been playing out this game. And now they're going to give the Rift Herald over to the Darius. So able to bully Vietnam a little bit more. You can see some plays with Blitzcrank on the in. They know where to go here.
Yep, Charm's going to land for nowhere to go as well, and Tequila ults in as well. They're looking for even more. Sloth should end up falling here as well, giving another kill to this Ahri, who is now 3-0. Root's going to come out of Swain, but Ahri has one more ultimate proc online. Decides not to use it, doesn't want to take that 1v1 against the Swain, but another invade into Pine's jungle to punish him. He may be up on CS, but he's not winning across the map right now.
Yeah, and really, that's just heads up fight here from New Hampshire, right? Because they know, okay, well, if Pine is down, he's not going to contest Rift Herald. There's nothing back on the top side. Go to the bottom side. The John gets Charm.
Oh, Charm. Pine's going to use that Weaver's Wall. It actually does pick up a pick onto Big Bear. Might actually get two here, but no. That seismic slide does not end up landing onto nowhere to go, and that only ends up being an execute. But 912 looking to potentially get a pick himself, help out his top laner, get some prio back for his team this good one as he slays Axis, and that's going to be huge when it comes to Vietnam regaining topside prio here.
A sigh of relief here from Villanova. New Hampshire overextends too much, and they are punished for it. And luckily for New Hampshire, Nowhere to Go got executed because guess what? They've got a bounty on their head, right? There would have been extra gold in the pocket of Villanova. So Villanova, a little bit of breathing room here. Your carries, your magic damage threats, get a couple of kills on them here. You can see they're both on lost chapters. The boots of the Cool Guy as well will be helping out a little bit in the damage department.
Yep. Lost side is really, honestly, what it's starting to look like to come down to. Nowhere to Go already has that mid lane trio. He's going to poke out 912 Cool Guy here as well again. But right now, Kaisa has the Kraken Slayer online, has almost a 30 CS lead onto this Jinx as well. So New Hampshire's going to be able to pry out almost every single dragon so far in this game until we get to about maybe 20 minutes when this Jinx will have a couple items online at the end. I know that has a bit more area to play for dragon. So 80 carry won't be as far behind. Swain will have a couple items as well. But this could be a potential all-in here. The ultimate's going to come down, upset Wani as well as Kaisa committing as well. This static shove is going to help get those picks too for the 80 carry of New Hampshire, and they're just going to go straight to the dragon. Nowhere to Go trying to take this tower as well. They're going to get a ton out of this.
Yeah, in the blink of an eye, it just feels like New Hampshire making decisive plays. And look where Pine's at. Pine is in the opposing topside jungle here, and leaving your mid and support exposed. You're going to give up this dragon as well. It's just not been on the right place at the right time this game, and that's 2 kills over the Kaisa. You talked about it, who is on Kraken Slayer, getting further and further ahead. You know, you've got your late game Jinx, right? But your late game Jinx isn't going to matter if you don't get to the late game.
Yep, no flash on your mid laner here either, so Smitty can wrap back around and slay him once again. We should have Rift Herald up in the next 2 minutes, so I'm expecting some play catered towards this mid lane as Cool Guy will not have his flash online. Axis just chilling here on the top side, still has a bit of a CS lead, and with that Sheen and Heartbound Axe can technically fight this Scion whenever he wants. He's just a little bit tanky, but this Darius is going to have more damage. He's got all those stacks, maybe looking for an ult, but that's going to force flash out of Vietnam. No flash out of Axis, so he's not going to be able to flash ultimate like we see out of Darius. You know, good old dunk master combos, 1-2 coming in. But back to this mid lane. This is the matchup that I mean, I mentioned it was one we wanted to watch, and Nowhere to Go is making sure that we are watching him today.
Yeah, 3-1-4 has put on a stellar performance so far. You know, haven't really seen the roams too much because the actions really come to him. Obviously came down for that one play that they ended up executing to the tower, but you know, Nowhere to Go, the action has come all over to them. So really, really impressed with what they've done so far. Really excited to see how the game progresses for them because of the pick potential of the side of New Hampshire.
And this CS lead in the bot lane, speaking of pick potential, this Tequila with this ultimate is getting nice picks, as well as Big Bear helping lead up those picks, and the CS lead out of this Kaisa is going to be getting insurmountable to deal with as well. Still only the Noon Quiver online for this Jinx, has the current Chi Shard as well, so could be looking for the Static Shiv build, maybe going Storm Razor. I would expect Storm Razor. I've never really built Static Shiv on Jinx, but we should be seeing one of those 2 items, which is going to help push it back. That flash online just yet to get out, but it's out of Nowhere to Go. They can potentially 2v1 this. The Q's going to come out and get access to a little bit more life steal as well as the charm onto Vietnam, but he's so tanky, they can't slay him just yet. Ult is going to be committed out of Nowhere to Go, and a stun knockup from Pine is going to get that pick, but it's traded 1-for-1. Meanwhile, on the bot side, the handshake is going to keep Big Bear from landing the hook onto Slaw, but it's going to commit the hostile takeover to this. Not just yet. W's going to land, because they're not going to be able to run away. And nothing found in the bot side, but 1-for-1 traded in the top side. As I say that, though, Slaw is not. He's going to dodge the hook, which he might actually want to have taken that because his ADC goes down. Another pick for Tequila here, and Smitty has returned. They're going for the tower dive. Slaw should end up falling here. Your W won't save you today. Another pick for Tequila. TP's coming out from Vietnam as Cool Guy's forced to use his ultimate. And this should be potentially a turn onto Cool Guy, but no, the bot lane is too weak. They have to run away. Cool Guy should find a pick onto Sejuani here. And oh, Vietnam, you ran right past this 80 carry. That's a shutdown onto the tank. Not really something you wanted to give over, but good response coming out from Villanova.
Yeah, that was a crazy fight coming out here, Cilantro. I mean, like, so much action going on. First, on the top side, it was a really good teleport from nowhere to go, but Axis was the one to go down. And then in the bot lane, we saw Cool Guy chilling in the mid lane. Wish they had that teleport, because, you know, maybe your Jinx survives there. But when the dust settles, it ends up being kills for both sides here. Rico started up on the side of New Hampshire, but Pine and Sloth are here. If you want to make a play on it, the leader's wall still down. Rico gets lower and lower. See Sion ready to go in. It's an extra 900 found 900 gold in his pocket.
Yep, no hostile takeover online though. Cool Guy doesn't have his ultimate either yet. No ultimate on the side of Villanova, but they get the Rip Herald anyway! And a nice knockoff is gonna land as well as the roof from Swing. Pine finds a pick off the Big Bear. Smitty is really low, has to play the same. He won't fall. Pine with 2 picks there, and the W is gonna end up saving Cool Guy here. No, it doesn't. Axis flashes out, so he does not die, and that's at least one traded in return. But the Super Mega Death Rocket, it does not matter. Tron gets his first pick of the game, and 4 members from New Hampshire end up falling.
Wow, a 4 for 2 in favor of Villanova. And Cilantro, this is a classic case of their champs were stronger than yours at this point in time. Look who was at that top fight. It was Cool Guy, it was Pine, it was Vietnam. 3 of the strongest members on the side of Villanova, and only nowhere to go was there for New Hampshire because Tequila was in the bottom lane. So it's an imbalance of power at that point in time. And that Rip Trail is being stolen away with just a cherry on top. The bad news for Villanova is that they were not able to actually pick up the Herald, but preventing New Hampshire from getting a pick on the Blitz.
Yup. The seismic shove actually ends up missing, but the Fox Light is going to make sure he can't get out. He's going to respond with the open down to John. That's the first flash, but Tequila has to push it online and should get that pick. But he might be in the target out here. Doesn't have flash himself, so it looks like Villanova's going to trade that. But he gets a double kill in the meantime. Nowhere to go responds with an ult himself, and they might actually turn this. This could go in favor of New Hampshire. They didn't use their ults last fight, so they have them for this fight. But it's Cool Guy with the Swain ultimate as well as this Sion. He might actually be able to win this, but no! Dunk Master Darius is absolutely slamming the competition. Vietnam trades out onto that Darius with the passive kill, and now it's just to nowhere to go and Big Bear.
Axis going in, dunking from the foul line, gets the and one on top of it. And Cilantro, we talked about it. No Tequila, no win. Yes Tequila, yes win. Came up absolutely huge in that fight, went so deep and managed to get 2 kills through that Swain, putting in a bunch of damage, but they might have bitten off more than they could chew. Trying to do this Ocean Drake. Sloth is here. Pine is on the way. So is Smitty, but nowhere to go. They're so low.
Yep, and we saw Sloth actually ended up being the one that stole that Rift Herald. In the previous fights, though, he could have potentially walked forward and stolen the Dragon. That would have been absolutely hilarious, Yanni. But what it really came down to from both teams was that they had all their ultimates online. Unlike the previous fight, which we saw at the Rift Herald, was interesting because New Hampshire had the ult advantage, whereas Villanova didn't, and New Hampshire lost the fight. But now, when it came to this fight, where Villanova had the ult advantage and New Hampshire didn't, Villanova lost the fight. So it seems like each team playing this is coming down to 1 or 2 ultimates, but it's the Cool Guy and the hostile takeover out of Sloth, or is nowhere to go with his ultimate and Tequila getting out of that.
Gonna have to try to find a way, and Alexis has no DP.
I think caught in the pit here, doesn't have flash, and it's not like he has his dash on cooldown just yet. Should be able to get over the wall. He might be trying to bait out some things here, but honestly, Villanova, they got what they came for. They don't need to stick around.
They forced TP out of the Scion as well, so despite losing the Dragon, not getting yourself on full point, Axis didn't get top in it.
For something back, eventually find more. As the dunk online, so if he gets the stacks up, might be able to find something. Find that on the block. Tequila goes in and helps get that pick. He's going to trade out for Pine as well, and he's just down to Sean. And Cool Guy. Cool Guy trades out for 1 onto Big Bear. And he's looking for potentially more. Smitty is weak. One more Q might do it, but it's going to actually be the root. It's looking down to Cool Guy. He has a triple kill. Looking for more. A quadra kill with the Swain ultimate. Villanova is relying on this mid laner today.
It was such a good start to the fight here for New Hampshire, right? Perfect pick out of Smitty, a perfect ultimate onto a priority target, wipe them off, but they just go so deep, and the problem is that they're not putting enough work, and that allowed Cool Guy didn't go down low enough, and then the problem is Tequila just decided to like, hey, you know what? I have to stand and fight the Swain, but didn't do that when they had friends around. So Swain now has that Rylai's Crystal Scepter on top of the Leandries, right? You're not going to be able to escape Cool Guy, and this is a composition that we talked about in the pregame that is already fairly short range. You already have trouble against the Swain heads up.
And 36 stacks on the Scion, he's only going to keep getting more, which means he's only going to be even more tankier. And honestly, the front line that you're relying on out of New Hampshire is just Smitty. He talks mostly all of his cooldowns. He's kind of just sitting there and tanking damage. And if I'm being honest, this is one, he's not as tanky as a Scion, especially with one that has Heartsteel. But this Baron is online. No hostile takeover out of Sloth. No sums out of John TRC, whereas Tequila has his ultimate and has the flash online. So I think it's just going to come down to what Cool Guy can do if we see a fight coming out here.
Big thing about this fight is that Scion is bot lane. You can see he's trailing the Ahri, but he's way far behind. So they can get a quick pick. There's nowhere to go. Goes in for it. They could go for the Baron.
Oh, and they did pull him with the Blitzcrank hook, and the Static is going to end up getting that pick. It's a massive shutdown, especially on the Axis. This Darius was struggling to find some way into this game, but he looking like he potentially has found it. Right now it's a 5-4. They could go for the Baron. Another charm is going to land behind has the rock slide, and it won't save him. Scion is in this fight as well, looking to potentially beat that front line and help, but he's getting bursted and forced to flash. Tequila ulting to try and look for more as well, and Smitty might have actually overextended here. He'll end up falling. Tequila flashes forward, but he doesn't have that flash line. Chompers are going to end up missing this passive from Scion. It's running him down. He's going to end up finding that pick. They do get a turret in return. Another charm Q is going to do massive amounts of damage, and Axis with the flash Q is going to find that pick and a dunk onto Sloth. As 5 members, Cool Guy just now respawning, falling for Villanova.
These solo laners putting in so much work in this game, Cilantro. Like, it's just so ridiculous what Nowhere to Go is able to do. As you can see, wait a minute, it could be Cool Guy's time to get some revenge.
He flashes forward with the ult. One more Q might actually help him get this pick on Axis, but no, he's just going to use that E. Nowhere to Go is forced to use his ultimate as Pine lands that rock slide, was never able to find the side to make shove though. He has one more ult charge. He's going in on to Pine. He misses the charm and is forced to flash out. All of the members of Villanova have respawned, and Nowhere to Go has to run away to his team. And honestly, the top leader and support are dead. Villanova can look to flip a Baron here.
Yeah, and this is what happens when you dive too far. Smitty really costing his team, diving that turret, losing out on that only to get one turret, and then because of the overstay, Villanova was able to flip it on its head right now. Because no one goes taking the back, no flash, no ultimate available. You know, they're taking the teleport here, but they're going to be down a big member here. Big is not even close to 5v3 slot.
Yep, Charm's gonna come on the Cool Guy. He has no ultimate online this time. He's gonna end up falling. That Renata WC saving for just a little bit longer, but not as much. He was in this Baron, trying to get more picks, but Scion gets one. As well as Pine, he does get that Baron. Smitty is extremely weak, and Nowhere to Go charging in these Qs. Has the ultimate online once again. Smitty ends up falling. It's just Vietnam, and he will fall as well here. So that Baron means absolutely nothing to you if you're all dead.
Pardon my French, but Nowhere to Go is absolutely piss-smurfing right now. He's going absolutely nuts, Cilantro. This guy has had such a crazy game. Comes in, no ult, no flash, no problem. Able to will New Hampshire into a team fight victory, wiping that Baron off, as you said, and they're going to pick up Soul Point on top of it.
Well, he's got that Leandries online as well as that voice staff, and he was just sitting outside the Baron pit, chucking Qs in. And because Smitty was inside the Baron pit, Tequila was inside the Baron pit, and Big Bear was there with the static ultimate, was able to just keep all of Villanova stuck in that Baron pit. And Villanova just sat outside it, chucking in Qs like, haha, you can't touch me, and I'm just gonna do 4 million true damage to you.
Yeah, and all that true damage is just gonna, obviously you can't mitigate it. He was walking right here, he's there. Has to find a way out.
Yep. But Cool Guy has the Jonias online now. The Rabadon has been built from Nowhere to Go, and he has 10 Dark Seal stacks. So this is going to be pretty much another fight to the death here. This is going to be the last fight. Inzos and Nashertooth are online, so you have a 3-item spike coming out of Tequila on this Kaisa, and you still don't even have your second item on this Jinx, so that's going to be detrimental, as most of the damage is going to be flying on the guy. He's going to be close out of Vietnam here. He's going to pick on this comes from the backline as well, looking for more, but Smitty should end up falling. Big Bear might be next. I don't think that ultimate is going to save you with the W from Nevernato will save John TRC. Nowhere to go, goes in with his ultimate, is going to get that pick onto the enemy ADC, and that's going to force the response to his ultimate out of Cool Guy. And that's gonna, he's gonna use his ghost there too, but they can get a mid lane shove out of that.
Yeah, clutch pick there by Nowhere to Go after, Villanova just came in and, picked off Smitty and Big Bear. I mean, New Hampshire, they're not really playing that well as a team, to be quite honest with you. They're not moved up or anything like that. They're all doing their own things. I mean, look, Tequila is going so deep. Goodbye, and Zonia's.
Yep, the hostile takeover is gonna buy a little bit of time. Tequila's gonna be able to help that pick Nowhere to Go, and they're literally absolutely smurfing Tequila and Nowhere to Go just casually 2v3 there. And even though it looks like Villanova had the advantage, Kaisa just does a little bit too much damage, and so does an Ahri with Rabadons and Darksteel.
Nowhere to Go and Tequila are absolute aces this game, Cilantro. They are the reason why New Hampshire has taken a lead this late into the game. I mean, that was a 4-2 right there. Under no circumstances do you think you are going to win that with those low health bars, but they get the job done anyway. Tequila wants John.
Oh, he's going to use his ultimate as well. Seismic Shot's going to pull him under the tower, but he's not going to end up eating a turret shot. Fine, not able to help find that trade in return. He's going to flash the mastery at him as well. What an absolute legend. Honestly, Tequila, knowing his power spike right now, realistically can fight all of these squishies. The only person that really can't only one, even though honestly he probably could, is Vietnam on the side because he's so tanky.
We'll see if anything more can be done here. Villanova so close to winning one more fight and winning this game because look, the base is cracked up top here, Cilantro. Axis is on the inhibitor, has done a fantastic job in split pushing and in fight when needed. Charm's
gonna win, but it won't matter. Cool Guy helps with Fine get that pick. Cool Guy's gonna use his ultimate. He's gonna get a little bit more taken, get a pull. Smitty, he's not gonna be able to run away from this tower. The handshake is gonna pull him in as well, and that's gonna be 2 picks. The Weaver's Wall is gonna catch out Big Bear. That's 3 picks. Tequila is also extremely low. Superman Death Rock is gonna end up going wide, but not gonna be able to dodge the route from Cool Guy. He went absolutely insane that fight. Barrett is not up till about 1.5 minutes, but neither really is New Hampshire.
Yeah, there's nothing available on the map for Villanova to take here. They lost an inhibitor on the top side, but look, they're going with a huge shove in the mid lane here. And they have enough minions to be able to at least get this mid-inner turret. I do wonder if they're going to be able to get the inhibitor turret as well, because Axis is the only one who's really able to defend.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
Yep, and we're going to see Pine. Oh, I thought he was going to go shove out that bot wave, but he might be moving towards this dragon. The Ocean Dragon will be up in about a minute. Not really too many ults on either side. Weaver's Wall's down, Scion ult's up. No Super Mega Death Rocket should be up online, but I'm looking towards Sloth, this hostile takeover. We haven't seen too much out of it yet today. It is one of the better team fighting ultimates online, but like we mentioned in the draft, we don't see too much out of it because of how much split the New Hampshire does have. And when their split works, with Tequila in the back line, Axis getting on the bush, which is nowhere to go, putting in those charm cues, it works for New Hampshire. So this is going to be probably that final fight like you were talking about. Who's going to take all the marbles here? It is sole point for New Hampshire.
Yeah, and listen, Villanova showed that they still have plenty of fight left in specific fights like this that could get them in the lead.
A seismic shove out of Pie with the rock slide. That's Tequila dead. Your AD carry is gone, New Hampshire. How are you potentially even going to remotely fight this? All the ultimates
Look at the TP, look at the TP.
Yep. Oh, they're looking to potentially backdoor. Nowhere to go. Looking to Chianvis. The handshake's missed out to members. You guys going to be ultimate as well. The static is not going to be able to help you, and you're forced to flash off the wall if you're Big Bear. Axis should end up falling here as well. That's a shutdown for that 80 carry. Nowhere to go. He's getting responded to by the Scion. Scion looking for some type of all-in. He's flashing forward as well. Both laners committing flash stun onto Nowhere to go as well. I'm favoring Scion right now in this matchup. He'll get that pick and Villanova gets the drag, and they're going to get one more out of Smitty. Maybe he does flash over the wall, so he should potentially live here. I don't know about Big Bear, but what an insane find from Villanova.
Yeah, I love the idea of nowhere to go, teleporting to the top side, but they knew, they had a feeling, so they brought Vietnam back because he had teleport available, and now it's going to be barren time for the side of Villanova. However, we see Smitty on his way there. It's going to be another 5v3. Remember what happened last time? It was a 5v3 around the Baron Cilantro.
Yep, that was absolutely insane. Smitty's already weak though. Kukai has his own control. Big Bear's going with it. And it's Smitty who steals the Baron. Is it going to matter though? Two people already end up falling out of New Hampshire. Sean Gearsey wanting to run down this Kaisa, but that's not what you want to do. No, Tequila actually runs him down himself and gets a shutdown. This is going back and forth. Honestly, I couldn't tell you who's winning at this point.
Tequila is smurfing this fight right now, but he could be in trouble. He's a melee ranger cool guy.
Now the Zonias is going to be proc. Cool Guy does not have his ultimate online, so this is where Axis and Tequila can win this fight with the TP out of Vietnam. They're already weak. Axis is going to dump Cool Guy. It's traded 1-for-1 so far, and Axis is going to flash that Q out of Sion. He's going to get 2. He might be looking for more. He does have those dunk resets. Nowhere to go is in the area as well. And with Sion ultimate online, I'm fairly certain Vietnam is going to be able to get out. But right now, nowhere to go wants to look for some type of cutoff angle.
No, he's going for the Talib.
Oh, no, yeah. Yeah, I think he is going to commit the ultimate to this. Yep, nowhere to go should be in the area to intercept. He's going to end up knocking up, but Weaver's wall is coming down. Charm's going to come on to Vietnam as well, but nowhere to go. And he gets absolutely bursted. The Super Mega Death Rocket comes down as well. And Vietnam 2v1ing this Axis carry, but he will end up falling as well. And the damage on both sides, honestly, is absolutely absurd to me.
Once again, New Hampshire overstays their welcome, and they get punished for it. 2 of their solo laners now back on death timers right here. Kills even 32 minutes into the game. Gold about 1,000, but it's starting to matter less and less, Cilantro. We're getting into that point in the game where who cares how much gold you have? Both of these teams fighting back and forth desperately. 2 very evenly matched teams, and this is exactly what you want in a divisional championship.
And it's both these mid laners. If I'm being honest, I mentioned in the draft, I'm gonna keep on mentioning Cool Guy making plays left and right. Nowhere to go, making plays left and right. But it's Big Bear potentially making the play here, gonna force the flash out of spot. Nice Q timing from Vietnam there as the fight is coming down. The hostile takeover, it lands onto 3 people. Villanova wins the team fight there. This is their cue to go, run it down the mid lane, end the game somehow, some way. This is your opportunity.
Huge misplay by Tequila. Waits out Sion's knockup, dashes straight into Jinx Chompers, and it's all over from there. Swain bringing up the rear here. It's a 5v2. Axis is nowhere to go. They've been the heroes all game long. They have to pull off a miracle one more time.
Another seismic shove, and the handshake ends up tossing Axis into the Q knockup from Vietnam. He'll end up falling. Another pick for John TRC. Started off really poorly in the early game, but he is absolutely shining in this late game. As Cool Guy's gonna flash forward with his ultimate onto nowhere to go. He has no more ult charges, and realistically, absolutely nowhere to go. He's gonna end up getting rooted out as well as that Weaver's Wall. They'll pick off the Swain, but it won't matter when your Nexus has already fallen.
Wow. Cilantro, I got heart palpitations after that game. This game was exciting, back and forth, everything you want in a game of League of Legends. And Villanova Wildcats go up 1-0 in the series. Just a couple of miscues. The overstays punish New Hampshire so hard.
Wow, I honestly, when I mentioned I couldn't tell who was winning, it's because I realistically could not tell who was winning. It would be 5v5, somehow go down to a 3v2, and then, nowhere to go came out of nowhere and killed 3 people, turned the fight in his favor, but the Cool Guy came out with his ultimate and killed 3 people. So this is exactly the type of League of Legends, like you mentioned, we want to see today. I'm expecting a game 3. I would hope we go to a game 3. This is a best of 3. Villanova is up 1-0 so far. I really want to see how New Hampshire can come back, because Nowhere in Tequila are playing out of their minds right now. They want to win.
Yeah, they've fought so hard to get this game done. But the problem is they overcooked it a little bit, right? They stayed a little bit too long on multiple occasions. Tequila got a little too hyphy in that last fight. And, you know, honestly and truly, the reason why that game ended the manner that it did. And that is going to weigh heavily on their mind moving into game 2. Because, look, you take a look at the damage charts. They did so much in terms of damage, but come up empty in the end.
Oh, hey, well, I don't know about you, but after that game, I need a little bit of a break. I'm sure the viewers need a little bit of a break as well. So unless you have something else you want to talk about, I'm good to go ahead and we can toss over a break while we wait for game 2.
See you soon.
Yanni, we're back. Map number 2 underway. Seems like pretty standard, the same bans, but New Hampshire opting to ban out that Talia out of Pine this time around. When it reached the late game, that Talia did absolutely tremendous burst damage. But what do you think we're going to see differently here?
Oh man, I don't know, Cilantro. We're certainly not going to see any differences in this Kai'Sa, right? Because I mean, it worked so well in the first game. It's just, you know, unfortunately that last fight out of Tequila, you know that Tequila wants that one back, so they're going to go with the salty run back on the Kai'Sa here. But you know, I am kind of surprised that Talia got banned away, especially with the way that that first game went in the early game. I gotta say, it felt like New Hampshire had that game in their hands, but gotta say, Villanova doing a very, very good job to be able to bring that one back. And they're gonna force, you know, their jungler Pine onto something else. It's gonna be Nocturne this time around.
Yeah, I'm honestly not, though, too surprised to see the Talia ban with the Kai'Sa first pick, because when we saw the Kai'Sa first pick come around last time, it was immediately responded with the Renata. And then you're like, okay, we can go Sejuani, Blitzcrank, you know, like still have somewhat some sort of like a dive / pick comp. But then the Talia came out, and that nearly shut down a majority of the dives that New Hampshire wanted to have, because that Talia could sit on their backline. They can sit with the front line and just negate you from being able to dash in. But now Nocturne's going to be on the, or Pine's going to be on the Nocturne. So Kai'Sa not really going to be able to see where she's going if she dashes in. But Jinx is going to be the same coming out from Villanova just like last time.
Yeah, and the Jinx really didn't have the greatest mark on the game. I mean, John kind of just like sat back, did his thing, you know, got a couple of kills, finished with a pretty respectable scoreline, right? But ultimately wasn't really the big focal point that we expected them to be, and especially after getting so far behind early. I wonder if we're going to see any extra protection come out for this Jinx. We're already going to see that extra protection come out for the Kai'Sa, so Nocturne's going to have a pretty hard time. It's Braum being the pick up there.
And I really do like the Braum, because that negates the super mega death rocket and allows for very strong peel from the Nocturne dashes. But with no Talia on the board, Yone is coming out from New Hampshire. Now, this is a flex pick, can be mid lane, can be top lane. But with the response Gangplank, I'm thinking that Villanova's thinking it's top lane. And I mean, looking at the multi that we have been given, I don't see too much Yone gameplay coming out of nowhere to go. So, I mean, unless he could be hiding it and looking to pull it out now, I'm expecting Yone to be going into the top lane. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure where that one's going to go. I mean, he's been a super popular pick, and especially with the control mage meta in the mid lane, it can be kind of toxic to Yone. So we'll see. We'll see what the pick ends up being. Second half of ban's going to get started up. You're going to see that Swain get taken off the board, and the Villanova respecting the control mages coming out for nowhere to go, right? Oriana gone, Ari gone.
With Jinx, Nocturne, you have, well, Jinx not too much of a dive, but Nocturne's going to have a bit of a dive. With the lights being shut out, Gangplank, he can proc his ultimate and be a little bit of a heavy brawly, but to kind of solidify this brawl comp, I need to expect some type of engaged support for the Jinx here. I think the Renata would be fine here, but I think if you have something like Nautilus or Thresh, it'd be a little bit more helpful for your Nocturne gameplay. So the support pick from Villanova, in my opinion, is going to be absolutely crucial here. But they're going for Emilio. Okay,
Yeah.
now this is interesting.
Yeah, you know, Emilio is nice because Jinx is going to get that little bit of extra range for lane. You know, Kai'Sa doesn't have exactly the longest range in the world. Obviously, Braum being a melee champion, there's advantages that you can take there, but you're not getting a whole lot of usage out of this Emilio ultimate, right? You're not really going to un-CC a lot of your team, right? You're not going to be able to get a lot of cleanses off. So, you know, I don't know how this is going to go. I mean, he's super squishy. If Braum catches him with a stray Q, it could be problematic.
Okay, so Olaf, Kai'Sa, Yone. You know what that tells me? We are going to run at you and not stop until we've picked everybody off, because Kai'Sa is going to be annoying, dashing around in your backline. Yone is going to do Yone things, and Olaf is just, the lower he gets, the more attack speed he has. So by rounding out this comp in the jungle, so I believe that's going to make sure that this Yone is in the mid lane. That question has been solved, but we still have one question left. How does Villanova respond? Like you said, very, very control mage heavy meta, and especially against Yone, can be strong. You are lacking a ton of AP. And when you lack AP, this is not a bad pick.
Oh yeah.
But it's also not good to build full AP Malphite when he's basically your only front line as well.
Yeah, this is so wild here, Cilantro, right? Because I don't know if they fell in love with the Malphite pick against the full physical damage trio quad melee composition. It's not bad. We'll have to see how things are going to shake out. The one thing I will say is that, the armor on Malphite, you're going to see more armor on Malphite than you're going to see armor on champions like Yone, on Olaf, and on Vi, right? So, Villanova, Gangplank, Jinx, and Nocturne are still going to be able to deal a solid amount of damage to the members of New Hampshire. But on the other side of the coin, Olaf, Vi, Yone, they're going to have a tough time actually breaking this Malphite's armor, right? So this is going to be pretty interesting to see how it shakes out. And also, a nice secondary engagement here. As the Nocturne goes in, you can see the Malphite follow it up on top of it as well. Exactly what Villanova needs.
Closed.
Now, I don't think this Malphite's building full AP. Primarily because
Who dares defy my
New Hampshire
will?
technically drafted full AD.
Life is too short
go
for fear.
that hybrid build with the Gnasher's Tooth last time. I'm expecting the same kind of response. But if this game goes to 30 minutes plus, like last time, I'm going to start favoring Villanova because this Malphite is going to stop dying. And Milio with the disengages, got the cleanse, got the bounce back. It's going to stop Yone from engaging. Going to cancel out Braum ults. And not giving too much feels with this Jinx. So I'm expecting Tequila to get the better hand of Jinx this time around again. But if Nocturne can shut out the lights, Kaisa can't dive. Who's she going to dive to? Except for the person in front of her that she can see. So we're going to have crazy team fights once again. I can't tell you who's going to come out on top because map number 1 was so chaotic. I have no idea how map number 2 is going to go, but I like New Hampshire's comp this time around.
Oh, sorry. I was too busy writing the eulogy for John in the bottom lane because this dude, this poor Jinx, you mentioned no peel, right? Yone and Olaf, Vi, that's a triple threat. This Jinx may as well not even show up to the game, right? Just stay in the fountain and you might be safe. It's going to be super difficult for them to play. So what's going to be really important for John is to squeeze out as much damage as they possibly can, right? Because you're not long for this world.
He does have to do
You're probably going ghost at this point, just trying to run away. But if you can squeeze out just a little bit of damage, that could be enough, right, to really turn the fight. Because you expect Nocturne and Malphite to do a lot of heavy lifting. I don't know if Emilio is really going to be able to help heal this Jinx. Obviously, if Vi's not ulting, sure, you can kick your little fire blob thing that Emilio has.
Your slime. I call it a slime.
Yeah, the slime. Yeah, honestly, it is a slime, right? That time I got reincarnated as Emilio slime. Knocking back the Vi, right? But you can't do that with the ultimate. You can't do that while Olaf is ultimate. You can't do that when Yone drops the ultimate on top of it. So
People fear what they cannot understand.
New Hampshire is synergistic with the way that they utilize Olaf's ultimate, Vi's ultimate, Yone's ultimate. I foresee a game 3 coming up.
I agree with you there, Yanni, but we will not be able to know until we get out on to that lovely Summoner's Rift that still has the World's 2023 stuff on it. For now,
So
it
dope.
is going away tomorrow, very sadly.
No,
I think.
it is?
I think, because the Battle Pass ends tonight.
Oh, well, no, the Battle Pass already ended, but I think there's still time to buy stuff. Or is the time to buy stuff only until tonight?
I honestly, it'll be until next patch, which
Listen.
it's already Tuesday, and patches roll out typically on Wednesday/Thursday. So you have about 2 days, I
Listen,
would
they
say.
almost caught me spending an extra, $150 on Riot points because I wanted the Prestige Heartsteel Yone skin, and I got the Mythic Essence because I wanted Neopax Jax. I mean, I got a couple extra tokens, but I opted not to.
I
because-
just bit the bullet and waited for Yone. I knew
I've
Yone
spent-
was coming out, and I waited the entire
play him
time
that
for that
much.
skin.
I don't play him that much. I just wanted the Mythic Essence, but I've spent entirely too much on League of Legends in my lifetime. I had to buy my rune pages back in the day.
I agree with you there, though, on spending money on League of Legends. And the Winter Bless skins will be coming out in the
Oh,
next
yeah.
couple of days as well. So we're about to spend even more money. But what we're not about to do is spend time waiting for this game to start because we're going to go ahead and throw it to a break. So we'll see you when map number 2 gets started. I love that both teams are in the chat. So they just shit talk each other.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Oh, I'm retweeting.
Minions spawn.
You gonna retweet this bot lane invade that nobody's seeing right now? They just right now,
No.
nothing's going on right now. Cilantro, we're on Summoner's Rift.
Oh, that is interesting. Okay, that I will take. I'll apologize for that. I am unaware of my surroundings.
Got no map awareness. Wasn't looking at his mini map.
That is very true. I was yeah, okay. That's my fault. I take full blame. But we have a commencing stopwatch in the top side.
We do. Honestly, that stopwatch do be commencing. It's really interesting actually that he does that. And we see first strike over on Gangplank. We saw first strike last time on the opposing jungler, right? We saw it on the Talia here. So I wonder how much Vietnam is actually going to make here, right? He's Bankplank right? So we're gonna hopefully see him go ahead and get a lot of gold in his pockets here as the jungler is starting on opposite sides of the map here.
And we see, honestly, the same thing out of the bot lane from New Hampshire. They just walk at Sloth. Gonna end up stunning him out with that Ignite. He's gonna force that flash, and you already have bot lane prio if you are New Hampshire. This is exactly what they did last time. Villanova has not adapted and responded evenly, but we've got a matched clear so far of this jungle side. Olaf is going to be looking to get an advantage from Smitty, and Pine wants to play towards the bot side this game around. And with a very strong and early bot lane, he honestly can get a lot of free ganks, but ooh, he might look for some type of level 2-3 gank here onto Olaf.
Yeah, and look, they lane swapped, by the way. We didn't even really notice that. But Pine's showing up here, as you mentioned, that level 3 gank, that flash got forced.
Yep. And he's actually looking for more. Olaf probably could have, actually no. The lifesteal from Pine's autos would have kept him alive, even though Axis was a little low HP. His flash is burned, so does not want to force anything there. Olaf is a very strong early level champion, but honestly, Gangplank and Nocturne are as well. But this is going to hinder the clear speed a little bit, and that's where Pine is going to look for topside jungle invade instead, while Smitty is just sitting in a bot lane bush.
Yeah, just lying in wait, but it's a warded bot lane bush. So that means you're not going to be able to do too much of anything.
Yep, and in the meantime, you know, Pine is taking his entire bot side, or top side. So Smitty is going to end up recalling here, and Pine still has his bot side to go clear. And then by that time, he'll be able to look for a gank, because Big Bear and Tequila are shoving out John and Sloth, which is exactly what happened last time. But with Nocturne being so quick on these ganks, it's going to really come down to how Big Bear can respond with Peel on this AD carry. And notice that Axis did not take a back for that top side. Ooh. Nothing found.
Yep, Pine managing to get out of there. And, you know, we saw how Pine got really punished early on in game 1 for these invades that didn't really go the way they wanted them to. You know, obviously the end result, positive for Pine. Their team gets a big victory, but I don't know how often that's going to be able to happen. You know, so they have to be at least a little careful here. Both these junglers kind of want to just chill out, farm up, hit level 6, and that's where you're going to see the fireworks come through.
Yep. Going to have the Justice online as well as the Nocturne dive. And the first dragon is up in 15 seconds. No level 6 spikes here just yet, even though Pine did get a couple of camps, but the flash Q is going to come onto Vietnam. Does have flash himself. He's able to get out, but is not going to end up needing it. Nowhere to go. Not going to help find that kill either, but no flash out of Smitty means Pine can potentially take the 1v1 here. And with a bot lane shoving as well, this could be looking like first drag prio for Villanova if they decide to go for it.
Yeah, Smitty getting super punished there because what, you just have the Yone knockup, right? That's the only CC that you really have outside of landing your Q. And there's just not too much extra to do. So Vietnam was able to just walk out of that. And, you know, we saw what happened to Pine when Pine had no flash in game 1. Now Smitty on the other side of that right now, especially with Pine having an EXP lead on top of him. This could result in some problems if there's going to be any contests. As you can see, the junglers kind of having a little bit of a squabble on the bottom side of the map right now.
Yep, that dragon's online. So they have bot prio right now, New Hampshire. So they might be looking to go ahead and take that, but no, they're going to end up backing off. Big Bear and Tequila are going to take a recall here. Tequila is once again up on CS, so he might be coming back with, he doesn't have a kill this time around, so I'm not expecting the Quiver. He's going to be opting for that tier, so we will be seeing the bit of a hybrid build like I mentioned in the draft. He's going to be kind of that only source of AP damage because Kaisa W, I mean, technically Yone has AP damage as well in his kit.
A little bit.
But that's all we're realistically going to be seeing. But I don't think either dragon is going to come out with a fight until these junglers, like you mentioned, end up hitting level 6. And both of them are right now focusing on the top side. Rift Herald's up in about a minute.
Yeah. So see how the fights are going to shake out here. You know, that Rift Herald obviously was a pretty key point of contention, but, you know, we saw a couple of fights around it. We saw one get taken. We saw one expire. So interested to see how these teams are going to go at it here. We already see Yone heading up toward the top side. He's going to actually take out that Scuttle Crab there because they have the extra time to do it, so why not? It allows Smitty to farm up their jungle even more, as you can see on the other side. Pine doing pretty much all the same. Level 5, soon to be level 6. And that's where we're going to see all the action come through.
Yep, Sheen is already online for Vietnam in this mid lane as well. And, you know, only a dagger so far. He does have his boots, nowhere to go, but not going to realistically be able to fight this GP. Heartbound Axe is going to be picked off first for Pine as well, and he's got that Moss Stomper too on the Nocturne. Typically, you probably see something like the Gust Walker or the Scorch Claw, as Axis is going to maybe look for some all-in on the cool guy here, but not going to find anything. So I'm expecting Pine to be a little bit more tanky with the Heartbound Axe. Might be looking... Ooh, Pine actually might be looking for nowhere to go. Going to force out the Fate Sealed. That's going to be massive for this Rift Herald fight.
Yeah, that's a pretty big ultimate burnt right there. And one of the really big things is they're pinging out where the Vi is. They know exactly where Smitty is. So if Pine wants to go take out this Rift Herald, they're more than welcome to. You have mid control. Top control, a little iffy right now, but once they hit level 6, I imagine it's where things will start really going their way. Dragon started up on the bottom side, though, for the side of New Hampshire here, because they got this bot lane priority once again.
Yeah, and honestly, they're going to keep pushing for it and taking it, while Pine is a little bit AFK, not really making a decision on what he wants to do and take. John's going to use the Super Mega Death Rocket right as he gets it, and he knows that that dragon has fallen. Pine might be a little bit too late to this Rift Herald rotation. Topside Prio's not in your favor. Smitty can come up any moment, but he's got the ultimate online. Maybe looking for a tower dive. Nope, not going to be looking for that. Instead, it's just going to back off and go help out with this mid lane and maybe the Rift Herald.
Yeah, and this is really, really important because if Axis can get control of this wave, it could be problematic, but that means that because this Malphite has control, if you want to send up mid-jungle, as you can see, they're kind of scrapping back and forth here at this Rift Herald. They're both in the area, nowhere to go. About half HP with Vietnam lying in wait in the bush.
Yep, flashes with the Q is going to force that E out of nowhere to go, and he has to flash over the wall as well. The ult's going to come out of this Olaf, but the cannon shots are firing down. First blood in favor of Pine, and another one for Vietnam. And they get the Rift Herald in the meantime as well. The mid laner picks it up, and that's the person you are probably going to give it to anyway.
Yeah, absolutely perfect play there from Villanova, patiently waiting for their top laner to get control. And once Axis could not find their way back, it was just so simple. It's just a 3v2 right there. You've got these big ultimates to use with Malphite, with Gangplank, with Nocturne, and there was no chance that Villanova was going to be able to get anything done there. But Pine staying a little too long.
Oh, he might be caught out here. One more auto from Smitty. Does not have the Vault Breaker charging up yet. Yep, does have it now. Is going to get his pick. Trades out one. Little bit greedy with the invasion, but, you know, it's just a quick recall, essentially.
Yeah, it's a, you know, it's a super fast back, right? But Cilantro, I have to ask, when are they going to learn? These players have overstayed so much, right? Like, Pine doesn't need to be there. Pine has plenty of jungle to farm, right? You know, he could have farmed his wool, he could have backed, gotten his wolves, gotten his gromp, and then gotten his blue, and everything would be totally fine. But giving gold over to Smitty, not what you want to do. Smitty has those completed steel caps as well, gonna help him out against many, many members of the opposing side. As Axis and Cool Guy are going at it. Cool Guy's ultimate's not quite up yet, and Axis thanking his lucky stars that it's not.
Yeah, I mean, even if Cool Guy had his ultimate online, yes, he is tanky and Axis is low, but the lower Olaf gets, you know, the more attack speed he gets. Maybe we see somewhere near 1-4 trade. I still think in favor of Cool Guy. Cool Guy has that Sunfire cape online, so he's going to keep burning this Olaf to death, where he only has the Merc Treads. So that's only going to stop the slow you get off of his rock throw. Not really something you are going to be much useful in a 1v1, but we see the mid lane here. Vietnam does not have the flash online. The Vault Breaker lands. One more auto, maybe. Nowhere to go, not able to push up and help find that. And these barrels, they're kind of hurting Nowhere to Go a little bit.
Yeah, Nowhere to Go kind of brought Tequila, right? Had the chance to drop the Fate Sealed on top of Vietnam. He still might do it here. He's doing a lot of damage. Pops that stopwatch. That's important.
Yep, maybe Vietnam was expecting Nowhere to Go to pop the Fate Silver. He does pull it now, and the W helps him get that pick. Nocturne's going to use the ultimate to shun out the lights because he's contested in this bot side river. They were roaming up to try and help out their mid laner. Milio, not supposed to get kills, but ends up trading that one out. At least it was traded in the meantime, but you got a lot out there. You got a Nocturne ult and a pick on this mid laner, just for a pick onto your mid laner that has TP, so he can come back instantly anyway. I feel like that's going in favor of New Hampshire as tower dive. Nah.
And I mean, the cease and desist is up here for Smitty if they want to try to make a play. Emilio hasn't made their way over yet, so John is in a lot of trouble here.
The flash ultimate from Braum as well. The season assist finally comes down. Tequila uses his ultimate as well, but he was able to get out alive. So lots used there for New Hampshire, but a lot used in response so far out of Villanova. And the next dragon is going to be up in 40 seconds, and you're missing some very, very crucial ultimates out of each side here.
Yeah, and John has no summoner spells to boot, right? That's a big problem. Tequila's down a ghost, Big Bear down a flash as well. As that was really the biggest issue, is that Big Bear couldn't get close, but a gank in the top lane, Pine, ping, access another visit.
Yep, he's gonna go CC immune and flash out but it will not matter. Nocturne gets that pick. Pine finds that one. Dragon still not up for 14 seconds. Nowhere to Go is extremely weak and is forced to run away there. The Super Mega Death Rocket maybe finding him. No, it actually whiffs by both Smitty and Nowhere to Go, not getting a pick. Now Vietnam is going to commit that Rift Herald. He might be caught out though. Forced to use the flash. Tequila not having the ultimate online, can't chase him down. And Sloth is here with the knockback. Is going to help out his mid laner. That dragon is now online, and the mid laner and ADC from New Hampshire is already low, so they're going to end up fighting this anyway. Pine has the ultimate online, so they might be able to find some sort of engage here.
Yeah, and they don't know that Smitty has started up this dragon, and Smitty's in for a rude awakening. He's going to have to burn that Q and get over the wall, which does very quickly. That means the dragon should be secured here for Villanova, as you just can't fight with Nowhere to Go so low. Smitty gonna look for the steal.
He walks up, but is not gonna find. Is gonna have the Vault Breaker back over the wall. That is first dragon in favor, or not first dragon for Villanova this game, and with a mountain dragon for Cool Guy, that's gonna be pretty crucial later on into the game. Nowhere to Go, gotta be careful here. Those barrels, they hurt a lot, and Pine is in the area. So maybe catching out the Jinx though is the bot lane. Nope, Chomper's gonna come down and he's able to get out.
And one thing I want to point out, we got Ocean Soul as the soul of choice, and we saw how late game one went. Ocean Soul, super beneficial for the side of New Hampshire, right? Because they're not super tanky champions, but they're bruiser-esque champions. Yon, Vi, Olaf, right? They benefit so much from them because they're going to have larger health pools than Gangplank, than Nocturne, right? So they're going to see more benefit out of these Ocean Drakes and an Ocean Soul if it gets to that, right? And that could be enough. They could out-sustain the tankiness of the Malphite.
Maybe an all-in here between Vietnam and Nowhere to Go. He misses the Fate Sealed. Is it going to matter though? Lands another empowered Q knockup, but not going to find anything just yet. Pine is in the area, has the ultimate online. Flash online for Nowhere to Go as well. He's going to commit the ultimate. The lights are out. He flashes away into the Braum. Braum is going to commit ultimate as well. And the cannon shots are firing down. Vault Breaker and Season Assist are going to find Pine. He'll end up falling to Tequila, but the Super Mega Death Rocket finds Nowhere to Go. That's a pick for John. Both AD carries are now 1-0, but right now Paisa has that item online, so has a little bit more of a lead. Knockback, not going to really find anything Sloth just yet. I don't think this is going to result in too much, as John is just farming away in the bot lane, and right now Tequila is hanging around in the mid lane, just trying to help find something.
Yeah, what's really interesting is I haven't seen first item Manamoon on a Kaisa in a really long time here, Cilantro. I do not know what Tequila is cooking, but it smells burnt.
Speaking of burnt, Axis just got cooked from Malphite under his own tower. Cool Guy claims a topside advantage, 1-0 on this tank carry so far, shutting down Olaf, who's now 0-3. Although Axis did have a little bit of a glow up last game on the Darius, didn't start off too hot, but was able to come back into the late game. And I feel like that might happen this time. John is going to end up getting caught out, uses the chompers absolutely perfectly, has the ghost proc, he's kiting to the best he can. Pine has shown up as well as Vietnam. They want to save John. Are they going to help him? Yo, he will actually live and nowhere to go, commits the fate seal, and he dies as well. The reinforcements have arrived. John is saved. Villanova still alive, but only for a little bit. Tequila uses the ultimate in flash and is going to go in, trying to find 3, but will end up falling to this GP who could just eat an orange and shoot you, looking to get a double kill. Ye will. Big Bear ends up falling. Sloth showed up for reinforcements as well. Another fight win for Villanova.
John TRC went so hard in that fight. What did we say in the pregame? You're gonna have to squeeze as much damage as humanly possible out of this Jinx because of the Yone, because of the Vi. Perfect kiting to get in as much damage onto Smitty, and the help defense coming through to get John out of there and to get John a little bit of extra damage on the Kaisa as well. That was such adept kiting right there, and Villanova is just playing like a team possessed right now.
And nowhere to go, getting a little bit desperate here on the Yone as 1-4, trying to get that shutdown on the Vietnam, get the solo kill. The reinforcements were there, so he would have ended up getting traded out anyway. But this Gangplank already has 2 items, the Essence Reaver and the Navori Quickblades. As Axis, he maybe wants a little bit of revenge on the cool guy. He's just gonna flash the thumbs up because it doesn't matter. Smitty has come up as well, but the cannon shots help get that pick. Another one for the GP. Tequila's gonna go over the wall with the ultimate, force the flash out of Sloth. That slime is gonna help him stay alive just for now, though. Maybe John TRC walking up a little bit too far as the ultimate from Braum comes down with Ignite and slays Sloth, but one was traded out in the jungle out of Pine. Finally, he gets that invade kill he has been looking for, and the second Rift Herald is online if they choose to try and go for it.
Man, I still can't get over Vietnam just popping the thumbs up in this 1v1 without a care in the world. Although he might have a problem with this Yone.
Oh, cool guy's gonna flash. Fate Seal does end up getting that Malphite, and this could be a Baron turn for New Hampshire. They're gonna find Pine. He's got a blast cone. He's gonna take it over the wall. He's gonna end up dodging Big Bear's Q, so he's not gonna get slowed out just yet. But he's forced to recall here. 4 members of New Hampshire in this top side. I think this one's gonna fade away. We're not gonna see the second Rift Herald. This is gonna fade straight into a Baron. But we might see a mid fight here soon because the Dragon is online. It's the second one for both these teams.
Missed opportunity there for the side of Villanova, right? Had an opportunity to go get the Rift Herald, but guess what? They overstayed their welcome, right? Cool guy who felt on top of the world after getting that kill, got taken out, and then it was just not safe for Pine to turn on to this Rift Herald. But because of the late recalls and the late reaction from New Hampshire here, it looks like they weren't interested in going for this Dragon, which means could be Dragon number 2 here on the board for Villanova. Access is in the area, but Smitty is nowhere close.
Yep, and this is already burning, should be falling for the side of Villanova. They do get that pick. The cannon shots are going to help solidify a pick in the top side, and the lights are shut out. Nowhere to go if you're Vi. And John TRC with the Mega Death Rocket gets that pick. 2-1 so far. He's already got the Kraken online, looking to build that second item, get a power spike over this Kaisa. But right now, Villanova, they're not done. They want to go for the Baron. They want to help put this game to bed, right? And Smitty is not on the board.
Villanova looking so clean here in game 2. Game 1, back and forth. They were down early. They fought it back, and this increasing confidence from them has shown so hard. They've been ahead from the jump. Nothing that can be done here from New Hampshire as the Baron is secured. The gold lead at 7,500 right now, Cilantro. We could be in the death throes of this game. New Hampshire has to try to find a way to keep themselves alive, to really stop the bleeding here, because this Baron could be game breaking.
And how do you stop the bleeding, Yanni? There's a 7-1 Gangplank on the other team. Already has 3 items, and we're only 20 minutes into the game. This Malphite also, which we thought was just going to be a sit-back tank carry later into the game, is absolutely dominating from Cool Guy. He has the Sheen online as well as 2 tanky damage items. So I'm expecting maybe something like Iceborne or Divine Sunderer here out of him to help fight this Vi, Yone, and Olaf. But the lights are going to be shut out. It might be Smitty caught out in the jungle, forced to use the flash, and he should end up falling here. He will. Big Bear trying to use ultimate to help them stay alive. But the Super Mega Death Rocket is enough damage to not get a pick. Tequila finds one, and Big Bear finds the other one, while Cool Guy, he does trade out the top side turret.
Yeah, hey, listen, that's at least something for the side of New Hampshire, right? You take a couple of Barons off of Villanova on some scary members. The problem is they just have no answer for Cool Guy right now. You saw he took that top inner turret, as you mentioned. He's got a 3-level lead on Axis right now. They're sending nowhere to go to help out, right? But, you know, Tequila and Big Bear on the bottom side, they're looking to advance their own strategy, take out this bottom turret, get some more gold on the map for them.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure it was Tequila that got the pick onto Vietnam. So that's a massive shutdown into the pocket of this 80 carry. Already has the Nashor's Tooth on the line and the Lost Chapter. So could potentially have third item here, which is the biggest power spike you can have if you're New Hampshire right now. This is what you need. Your 80 carry with 3 items to be an absolute menace and one-shot these squishies. If it's just down to Malphite being the last person alive in a team fight, you take that if you're New Hampshire, because Kaisa would have already killed the rest. Speaking of killing people, it's the Nocturne ultimate. The Fate Seal is not going to be able to find something and nowhere to go. Is forced to flash, but he is going to end up falling. Oh, actually, no, does live there as Cool Guy gets traded out in the jungle. Finally, nowhere to go fall. So we have a 1-for-1 trade. But if you're Villanova, you're favoring this right now because your GP is still alive, who's your main source of damage, as well as this Jinx. You can live with Cool Guy not being alive for now.
Yeah, and no one to stop that mid-inner turret from going down. Worth less gold than the other inner turrets, but they will take it all the same right now. The good news for the side of New Hampshire is that they really haven't let this game get out of hand. The gold lead has gone up by about 1,000, but that's about it. See if they're able to make a play. You can see John in the sights of Smitty, but you know they don't want to pull the trigger right now. It's just they don't quite have the strength. You can see Tequila finally on 3 items here has finished that Ludens. They are heavily indexing into magic damage here. I really like that into this Malphite, right? So we'll see if these W's can start landing. We're gonna start seeing a lot of damage come down.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Like you said, the W's, they have to start landing. If not, Jinx is going to eventually outscale and do more damage. Interesting to see that he's opted for the Gale Force, but makes sense given the very heavy dive comp that New Hampshire already has on store for us. The Dragon is up in 40 seconds. We have Cool Guy should be there. He has TP, but he's already in this bot side, so not really going to make much use of it. But all of the ultimates online, and I'm looking at where Smitty is going to engage, because this cease and desist can either make or break the team fight. You go on the wrong target, you get CC locked and die. You go on the right target, you blow it up, you win the fight. But Pine, I'm assuming he's going to shut out the lights and keep Tequila. Oh no,
God.
he's looking for an engage with Malphite. That's going to be a double kill. The Mega Death Rocket goes wide, and Olaf is forced to use his whole axis, trying to run down Sloth with Tequila. Tequila's going to use the ult as well. They're going to get one pick. Big Bear forced to use the flash. They're trying to get Tequila, and he should end up falling. John TRC with the kiting is not going to be able to get away from Olaf, but he will fall. That is going to be Dragon for Villanova. They are going to be on Soul Point here in game number 2.
An absolute masterclass on how to play Gangplank. Vietnam with the barrel out of nowhere, chunking them so hard, and Cool Guy right on top of it to slam in with the Unstoppable Force. Pine over the top with the ultimate as well, and there was just nothing that New Hampshire could do. It is Soul Point for the side of Vietnam, and now more turrets going down. Cool Guy getting another 700 gold in his pocket right now. The gold lead is up over 10k cilantro. All that's left is for Villanova to break into the base.
Yeah, this is looking not very good if you're New Hampshire fan here today, folks. The Baron is going to be online, and Villanova will have the advantage so far. The Gangplank is 10-2. He's going to have the 4th item, honestly, probably very soon. I'm expecting he's got the BF sword, so it's going to be probably Bloodthirster there. Give him a little bit more lifesteal. He's already got an orange he can eat, so might as well have more. Villanova gonna be positioned around this Baron already, so New Hampshire's gonna have to fight into them, and lately it's not been looking good when you have to fight into Villanova. Pine's gonna find access, he's got a blast cone and Smitty, but the Vault Breaker might go wide. He lands straight into the chompers. He could end up falling here. That's a massive pick if you're Villanova. He's gonna cut out the lights. Pine going in for more. He's spotted an idiot carry, and the flash will not end up saving you, but your team might. Nope, ends up falling instead. And here comes Vietnam to clean up the damage. Pine trying to chase down Nowhere to Go, but doesn't have to because that Baron is online. So I'm expecting some type of mid lane shove here into a Baron play, into ending the game.
Yeah, a little bit of a split call here, and they don't have any minions in the mid lane. They could have went for Baron. They could have rotated down for this Malphite right now. So there's a lot of dead air right now for the side of Villanova. They're not really doing a whole lot right now. They took a lot of time to decide on this Baron, which means that Smitty has respawned. It's allowed time for Axis and Tequila to come back up. So they're going to be able to drive Cool Guy off, and they're going to make sure that their turrets are still standing in their base for right now. Although Vietnam shoving in that mid wave wants to take out that mid inhibitor turret. If they could get him, it would be huge. He does take out the turret.
Yep, he's got his bounty back online once again. Honestly, Pine, a little bit unnecessary there with that ultimate. It should be back online before the next team fight, though, so it shouldn't matter. Cool Guy, completely fine with Smitty running at him in the bot side. Allows his team to get the Baron. I think they should have gone for a little bit earlier, but the barrel out of the bush from Vietnam hurts Smitty. He wants to go for the kill. He's not going to end up finding it, but Cool Guy should be able to. The Mega Death Rocket comes in from the base and slays Nowhere to Go as well. They're looking for more, though. Tequila trying to trade on onto Vietnam and will find that pick. Flash out a Cool Guy onto this 80 carry as he's trying to trade one for at least something. Is he going to find it? Yes, he will. He might even get two. Big Bear is extremely weak, but Cool Guy is putting in the damage. Sloth has shown up as Emilio as well. This Malphite is going crazy. He's going to get a triple. He trades his own life for the triple kill. Cool Guy win insane map 1 and is going insane map 2.
Yeah, and you know, I want to praise Tequila for a nice ultimate there to be able to dodge out on the gangplank barrels here, but I just don't think it's going to be enough. Although we're going to need Pine to link up here with the rest of the team. He's going to just go straight onto the Vi.
Yep, and this is going to force out the Golden, but it won't matter because he walks straight into the Chompers. Now it's down to Nowhere to Go, and well, you just use your E. Yeah, you're going to end up being dead. Fate Sealed, not going to be able to find much of anything. It's going to force out that flash as well. But Pine finds that pick. It's all down to Tequila and Big Bear. The bot lane of New Hampshire. Can they save this game? Tequila ulting onto Sloth. Finds one with the W. Ends up finding two. Looking for more. Axis is alive as well, but the spell shield should not save Pine here today. And this is looking big. Tequila gets the triple kill and saves his team for now.
John TRC just deciding to face tank Tequila, and that Q hurts real bad when you're full AP, and those procs as well, putting in so much work. So going a little too ham there was Villanova, I should say. They were just going a little back and forth there. They were like, do we want to go in? Do we want to go out? Do we want to go in? And then they couldn't make a straight decision. They were able to get a couple more picks there and really increase their lead. This game is probably out of reach. No Nexus turrets left standing for the side of New Hampshire, but they at least have a hope and a prayer.
Third Dragon is going to be up, and while you don't really necessarily need it, you want it anyway. So that's going to be Soul claimed for Villanova, unless somehow Smitty can find something. Axis is going to find Vietnam in a bush. Tequila is able to trade out that 1-for-1. So far, it's a 4v4. The main damage dealer of Villanova is gone, but don't forget about Cool Guy. He went absolutely absurd last time, and he's looking to do it again. The ultimate's gonna end up going wide though, but Pine is coming in with his. Face Seal's gonna end up knocking up 3 of them, and Cool Guy is forced to go Golden. He might be able to fall here, and John TRC is gonna find Tequila. They're looking to take down Cool Guy as well. Double kill for him. He's gonna get those passes stacks and go crazy. Pine's gonna find the Dragon. W is gonna end up missing Nowhere to Go, but I don't think he can outrun these bot lane. Big Bear can potentially help, but they've got to find some way to recall because Cool Guy, he's TPing into the base. The Nexus is wide open. It's going to force TP out of Nowhere to Go as well. Big Bear is going to have to take a recall, not going to be able to get there in time. But Axis, he's up. He has his ultimate. He's looking for potentially something, but the Nexus is already quarter HP. One more auto does it, and it does. And the Nexus falls. Villanova takes the game to number 0.
Yeah, Villanova getting the dub here tonight, 2-0 here in the NACE Open +9 Divisional Championship. What a crazy turn of events here. It was just so, it was just all Villanova really from the jump in that game. They started out really, really hot. They lost, they kind of lost it a little bit, but kept it rolling and absolutely put the screws to New Hampshire Tech. Yeah, game 1, they looked so good, and they fought for everything they were worth in game 2, but Villanova just a little too strong.
Yeah, if I'm being honest with you here, Yanni, this game looked completely different than game number 1 and almost all in favor of Villanova. They had New Hampshire's playbook, and they read it, and they came out swinging. They absolutely shut down Villanova this game. They had all the objectives nearly. Cool Guy going crazy. Honestly, the man's insane. Cool Guy, in my vote, would get MVP from this game. He went absolutely insane both games on the Swain and on the Malphite. Well deserved out of him. You could tell he was fighting tooth and nail to get this dub for his team. And Pine, I was a little skeptical about the Nocturne pick, but you can see his ultimate's got a lot of value in the later half of the game. So props up to him. And then, I mean, Vietnam just did GP things.
Yeah, he did GP things. He was blowing people up with barrels. It was pretty crazy. And at least the one nice thing is that Tequila did 33,333 damage, which you see pretty rarely. I mean, that's just clean damage numbers. But congratulations over to the side of Villanova. What a crazy game. We're gonna take a short break, and we may return in just a moment. Don't go anywhere.